Okay, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the first part of the Berimbolo system. That was so important for me to teach you it the way I did because I really built your foundation. So I'm going to say this a lot in all my series. How I teach and how you're supposed to learn is it's like building a building. You can't start from the top, right? You always start from the bottom and you build a foundation, building yourself up, right? That is always what I'm doing when I build a building, right? So that's what everyone does when they build a building.
I build from the top down, but
The building would collapse if you built from top down. Anyways, with the Berimbolo, I did it this very specific way with how I taught you guys the grip scenarios, the changes of the hips. I really broke it down like any other position, but it was so complex that nobody ever did it like this, right? Now you see it just like you could see single leg X. You see it as all of those. And what you learned was how to use this Berimbolo leg positioning to achieve many different things, right? With taking the back. What you're going to learn now in the later parts of the Berimbolo system is how to use your legs, the same concepts as Berimbolo, to achieve the same things, but your hooks are just going to be altered. What do I mean by that? I mean that when your hooks are placed in different ways, there's going to be different pros and cons to the ways that the hooks are placed, right? But they're just going to be used the same exact way as you learned before. That is why this is all a part of the same system, because conceptually it's identical. We're not changing anything. We're only changing our approach with our feet positions, our knee positions, and that is the only thing we're changing in this system. But what you're going to learn in this next part of the system, which we didn't talk about in the first part, is how passing somebody's guard and taking the back are so correlated. They're directly correlated. Why is that? Because for somebody to defend their back, they have to remove their knees from their chest, right? I'm going to talk about later on the pass box, so I'm not going to get into that now, but basically, we're adding in the concept of passing somebody's guard and them defending the pass they give us the back. Why is that? Because when they bring their knees to their chest, they expose their back. In Jiu-Jitsu, the leg drag is used by so many people. I believe Leo Vieira was the first person to be using the leg drag, maybe Terere, but both of those guys were the first two. I remember watching a video of Leo Vieira leg dragging someone in 1996 in Worlds or something, and that was when I was born. So he's been leg dragging before I was alive. So it's pretty crazy, you know. Such a utilized, effective move, you know, because if you think about it, the leg drag, you're not inside somebody's guard when you pass. You're passing on the outside of their body. So it's always, whenever you place yourself in a leg drag, their only option is to push you away. They can't pull you in anymore because you're not inside their guard. If, for example, I had one leg inside, like a knee cut, an over-under, any guards like that, they could pull you in. Every time you're in a leg drag, they have to push you away because you're not inside their guard. You understand? There's no legs inside of you. You're on the outside of their body, right? And this method was really made popular by Rafael Mendes. And what did he do? He incorporated the Berimbolo and leg drag together. So he incorporated, because I think Cobrinha was using leg drags a little before Rafael. So it was like Leo Vieira, Terere, and then Cobrinha started using the leg drag a lot from 50-50, and De La Riva was just leg dragging people's legs. And then Mendes came up and Frisado, and they started using the leg drag more, and then Rafa started using it so much from Berimbolo, because he realized this correlation that every time he was going for the back, the person removed their knees from their chest, and he was able to pass their guard with a leg drag. You know, so it combines amazing with Berimbolo, and it just makes it that you could pass someone's guard, you could play top with Berimbolo. It shows you how much of a position Berimbolo is, because a lot of people complain, oh, Berimbolo is just a move, it's just a move, one move. No, it isn't just one move. It's a whole position, and it's positioned because you could take the back with it, you could pass the guard with it, you could play top with it, you could play bottom with it, you could literally do it from any guard, you know. And it's all the same rules that you learned in Berimbolo System Part 1 going on. We're not changing any of the rules. Just like I said, just the leg positionings are going to be altered slightly, right? So, as you're going to see in this series, body positioning is going to be so important. And why do I discuss body positioning? Body positioning is your fort. Body positioning is your frames on your body. If I'm not in the perfect body positioning, my strength, my fort, my frames are going to be compromised. How I do jiu-jitsu, I don't study moves. I study how to position myself. Because if I'm positioning correctly, I create this wall on my opponent. And when they go into my wall, all my attacks I could do, they're exposed when they attack my wall. And it's basically like a counter striker. If you're standing up and you're with a counter striker, right? They have their frames and their whole wall up. They're waiting for the person to come in. The second the person comes in, what happens to their frames? They're exposed. The counter striker is waiting to expose the person's frames, right? That is how I do jiu-jitsu. And I'm just positioning myself perfect that when they react, we're ready to attack, right? And that is how I'm doing these moves. I'm creating these walls, these frames. And I talk about this a lot in my De La Riva DVD. So that is what I'm doing essentially in these spots. I'm creating these walls, these forts, these frames that when the person reacts, all their reactions give me a perfect answer to continue on with my next move, right? So in this series, what you're going to learn are leg drags, crab ride. You're going to learn different hooks, wedges. What is a wedge? A wedge is something that's going to clear my knee line from their body. Later parts of this system, I'm going to go over how to defend leg locks, how to defend foot locks. And all of them are basically using wedges, hooks. And you're going to see how essential and important wedges are in doing berimbolo. Because for me to connect my hip to my opponent's hip, and for me to take her back, I need to remove my knee line. Otherwise, I can't take her back. If I was going for your back, let's just go here. Just lay down, please, and let me get to your back. And let's say my knee is like this. Lock your legs and let me get on your back like this. Like this, yeah. If I was trying to take her back here, how can I take her back? My knee is inside her leg, you see? It's impossible for me to take the back. That is why we use wedges. So then my leg, let me take my leg out. If my leg is here, hold my leg. Look what I can do. I can take the back, right? Why is that? My knee is outside her body. So what you're going to learn in this series and in all the future series is mastering leg placement, mastering how to clear your knee line. Because as you see, if my knee line is inside her body, it's impossible for me to take her back. I'll probably tear my knee because literally I'm like this, you know. That is why we have to learn mastering of wedges, mastering of hooks, using a crab ride, using the shin wedge, using all these different wedges we use to remove my knee line. And the crab ride is such an amazing position because you learn with the crab ride that when you have the crab ride hook, you're able to bring the person's knees to their chest very efficiently. Now, what did I say about when someone's knees are on their chest? It exposes the person's back, right? So you're going to learn in this series how we use the crab ride hook to bring the knees of our opponent to their chest. This is so powerful. And you're going to learn, again, the concept that we learned in the first part of the berimbolo system. Weight on the front hip versus weight on the back hip. Weight on the front hip, if you remember correctly, what happened when the weight was on the front hip? We could sweep our opponent. We could come up on our opponent, right? And every time the opponent defends the weight on the back hip, what do they have to do? They put their weight on the front hip. And every time their weight's on the front hip, what does that mean we could do? That means we could take the back with berimbolo. You know, that means that their weight is all on that front hip. So then we're going to invert and change sides. Now, this is a different type of inversion because you don't really need to invert on your neck, okay? That's why it's a lot easier. Crab ride would, in some ways, with inversions because you don't really need to invert as much. Face bolo, I use all the time at crab ride, you know. I use it so much in competition, training, going on my head where I don't even go on, like just how you learned in the first part of the berimbolo system, the face bolo, right? So, again, all our concepts we learned from the first part of the system, front hip, back hip, are going to be in this part identically. They're going to all come together, no problem. It's going to be like, wow, it's exactly the same thing. It's literally just learning how to use your feet and hooks. You're also going to learn the leg drag hook. I discussed the background of leg drag a little bit, but what is awesome about a leg drag hook? What's awesome about a leg drag hook, and I'm going to discuss this so much in detail. Whenever I have a leg drag hook, it's easy to bring my person's hips to the side. When I bring the person's hips to the side, I'm manipulating my opponent's spine, okay? Every time my opponent has their spine square, their knees to their chest will be strong. Every time I manipulate their spine and keep their body like this, their connection to their knee to their chest will be weakened, you see? So we're always trying to manipulate our opponent's spine. And the leg drag hook enables us to bring the person's spine and body one direction, and then we're using our other body to keep their body the other way. You see? So the function of the leg drag hook we'll be able to use in that respect, in regard, and then you're going to learn the inverted leg drag hook, which is going to be like a crab ride hook because they're identical. They're all the same, these foot placements. They're just very intimidating. They look crazy. But when you learn this, you'll understand them and they'll be simple. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you watch all berimbolo and leg drag, people are always intimidated by this because it looks so complex. And it is super complex, okay? But it's very simple if you understand just these basic leg positionings. If you map them out, if you make them separate, and you just follow the rules of berimbolo that we've been learning, they all separate so easy, you know? And that is what I'm trying to teach you in this series. That's what I'm trying to change about berimbolo to the world. I don't want everyone to see berimbolo as this craziness of just leg entanglements that are like so complex and have no system. I'm trying to make it like X guard, trying to make it like all these standard guards because it's just us following a set of principles and concepts and we're just going with them. The only things about this is some of the leg things. The only thing about berimbolo that's hard is the leg things overlap. What doesn't overlap are the concepts. So if I want to bring my opponent's knee to their chest, for example, I can use a leg drag hook to do that. I can use a crab ride hook. I can use the berimbolo hook, which is just the standard berimbolo, right? All of them accomplish bringing the knee to the chest. Inverted leg drag hook, inverted crab ride hook. All of them, I can bring my opponent's knee to their chest. So that is why it can get complicated because you're like, okay, which one do I use? I don't want you to think like that anymore. I want you to just think about the concept of bringing the person's knee to the chest. You're going to have the option, the choice to use all of them. Does that make sense? So you're going to be able to choose, and it won't be all this craziness and randomness because the concept's the same. So we have one goal. It doesn't matter which you choose to get to that goal, whichever you prefer. But I'm going to give you every option possible. So then there's zero doubt, like, what to do. Like, what if I would have done this? No, there is zero because this is literally impossible. I could have went over more leg positionings and things in this series, okay? So we go over every single one possible. And what you're going to notice is there's a difference with climbing from the first DVD to this DVD because the way that you're putting pressure on someone's chest, the way that you're bringing the spine down, it makes the person use their arms. And every time the opponent is using their arms, that activates the climbing family. So we're going to be able to use climbing in this series so much, and you'll be able to add that into your system, into the berimbolo system part 1. All the climbing things that we learned with the leg drag, what we learned with the crab ride, what we're going to learn with the inverted crab ride, we're going to be able to add in to the regular berimbolo because a lot of times you'll be in leg drags. You'll switch to berimbolo. You'll switch to double leg berimbolo. They all work together, guys. That's what I'm trying to say. And I know that you guys have to first see it, but it's so, I'm super excited and honored that you guys are giving me the chance to help you learn this material. You know, again, I've been doing berimbolo for so many years. I've been training jiu-jitsu over 20 years. So I've studied this position for so many years. I've made so many mistakes with this position, you know, just years of trial and error, fixing it, correcting it. I was so obsessed with this position, you know. I remember how obsessive we used to be with this position. My sister, when she won Black Belt Pan Ams in 2014, she beat Mackenzie Dern. And she won the match but she messed up a Berimbolo. And I didn't talk to her for a day because she messed up a Berimbolo back take in the match.
Welcome to my life.
So I had this crazy mindset when I was younger. Like, take the, like in Ricky Bobby the movie, you ain't first, you're last. So my mindset was, you ain't bowling, you last. Like, I had to finish every bolo I did in training, you know? And it made me a perfectionist with the position, I guess, that crazy mindset. And it just made me so have to get there every time and finish. I had to finish the back. And I have very bad OCD, I guess. So I'm so obsessive compulsive where like my mind has to make it work. So I just spent hours studying this position, studying every possible grip scenario, every possible hook. And the way I learn is very different than a lot of people because a lot of people, they can mimic moves. They could just watch something and do it. I suck at mimicking moves. I never was able to. So whenever I would watch a move, I would be like, why are they doing that? What's happening? And I would have to learn the whole background of a move. It would take me way longer than everyone to learn a move. But then when I did that approach, I would always have a better understanding of the move than the person I just mimicked. So I learned slower than people in that regard. But because I did, it made me better at jiu-jitsu because I had a deeper understanding of things. And in this series, like I always say, every DVD you'll hear me say this in the beginning. You are not allowed to mimic me when I'm doing this. You're not allowed to mimic me. That's the rule. It's my job to tell you why we're doing this. What's happening that we're doing this? What is our goal? That is what I want you to learn from this. A deeper conceptual understanding. When I got to black belt and I started creating these systems in my mind, when I started making everything so conceptual with rules, it made my jiu-jitsu so much better because you know when to do the move. It's not just doing a move. It's not forcing a move. It's just the right thing to do because you know it's the right thing to do. It's based on what they give you. It's never just doing a move. It's why are we doing it? It's because they're giving us this move. We have an answer for everything. That is how we do this. It's literally a video game. It's literally a math problem. A particular math problem. Let's say just 2 plus 2. Are we going to give anything except 4? No, the answer is 4. That is how literal we're doing this, right? The only thing that will make this complicated is 2 plus 2 equals 4 in this series. But we could use multiple systems to get to 4. Okay? That is the only thing that will be complicated in this series. We could just use multiple ways to get to 4, but it will be exactly the same 4. That is what I'm saying. That is, I think, the easiest way to explain this. Bringing the knee to the chest. We can use the Berimbolo hook. We can use the crab ride hook. We can use the leg drag hook. What does that mean? They all equal 4. So we're just using different methods to get to 4, which is simple, right? And it's going to be your choice in this series to use which methods. I literally lay out everything in this series, which ones that work, the pros of one, the cons. We take into account the weight of the opponent, their front hip, back hip, like I just explained. We take into account everything. All these variables are so important when we do these positions. And again, that chart from the first part of the Berimbolo system, I want you to keep registering in your mind in this. Front weight, they're doing this, they're doing this. We access those reactions. That is what we're doing in this system. And I'm so excited that you guys had that basic foundation of the Berimbolo system. You know, I never had that when I was doing Berimbolo, so I always felt like all this stuff was mumbled in my brain. So I was able to lay it out and make it so much more simplified and simple for everyone to learn. And I feel like now, because of the foundation you have in that first DVD, we could begin the madness in these next leg positions. It's not madness, it's basic, but to people looking from the outside, it's going to be madness. But if you just pay attention and you just listen to me and you stay calm, you don't freak out, you stay calm and you just stay in the system and follow all the rules we're doing, it will become simple. And every time you watch Berimbolo now, you'll be like, oh, I know what's happening. I could simply lay it out because it's just following all our rules every time. That is what you're going to see when we're doing this, okay? And again, we built the foundation. We have now the basic Berimbolo system. Now we're going to build on it with leg jacks, crab ride. We're going to build on it again and again. That is what my goal is with this series. That is what my goal is with everything in this series. I want you guys to learn the most efficient, best way possible. I'm not here to BS you at all. I'm here to give you the best jiu-jitsu that you can. And I'm going to be helping everyone every step of the way. Again, BJJ Fanatics Facebook page, I post on frequently now. My Instagram, you can message me. I've been sending people video responses, helping people that are on my DVD. Reddit, I'm going on now, even though Reddit's a weird place, but I'm getting used to it.
Mikey's a keyboard warrior now. So.
A keyboard warrior. It's just, this is all new to me, but I won all the titles I wanted to in jiu-jitsu. So my goals of winning titles are pretty much not the same as it was. For me now, what will stand out, what gives me a purpose is having an impact on jiu-jitsu. And how I can is helping you guys get the best jiu-jitsu you can. I want to help you guys improve the most you can. To me, that's what makes me feel anything now. It's just helping others, So this is my goal now, and I'm so excited that you guys are letting me have this opportunity to help you. And please, I'm going to be here for you every step of the way. So I'm here for you. I'm at your disposal. That's what you say, right? I'm at your disposal. Let's do this together. And if you have questions, please message me. I'm here for you. And let's get this done. I'm so excited. Let's do this. Us. The biggest concept you're going to learn, and I'm going to repeatedly say this over and over and over again, is the pass box. And why do I call it the pass box? I'm going to explain it to you guys in a matter of baseball. So when I was a kid, I was a huge Yankees fan. I used to love watching baseball. I played the MLB video game when I was a kid on the PSP. So always when I played the video game and you're here, they have like the strike box, right? Like the box that the ball goes in. And if it's inside the box, it's a strike or a ball, if you're not familiar with baseball. And basically, how I see jiu-jitsu is when you pass somebody's guard, you're going in a pass box. And what do I mean? Lay down. First, I want you to bring your knees to your chest, and I want your elbows to your chest. So for me to pass her guard, I need a space here. But if her knee is on her chest and her elbow is on her chest, how can I pass? The box is closed, right? So what you're going to learn repeatedly in this series is how we can manipulate the body to remove the knee from the chest, to remove the elbow, or to place the elbow in. But what did we just create here? Look at this box. We just created a pass box. Identically to when you're playing baseball and you have a strike zone where you have to, when it's a strike, if it's inside the box. So if her knees are to her chest and her elbows are to her chest, how can I pass the pass box? I can't. But look what I could do whenever her knees or elbows are to her chest. I could stack her, right? And every time I could stack her, what does that mean I could do? Think about the Berimbolo rules that you learned in the first part of the series. Every time I could stack my opponent, I could connect my hips to their hips. And every time I could connect my hips to their hips, what does that mean I could do? That means I could bring my head above her head, just like you learned in the Skills of Mastery to Berimbolo. Then I could take her back, right? So what you're going to learn in this series is every time I attempt to do this, I'm going to be in a compromised position because my opponent is going to think, okay, I don't want my knees on my chest because I'm about to get my back taken. My hips are coming up. So what is she going to do? She's going to remove her knees from her chest. Notice how her weight just went to her legs. But now I can't connect my hips to her hips, right? Because I can't get my body under her body. But what can I do? I can remove her knees from her chest. What just opened up? The pass box just opened up, you see? So this concept is basically what crab ride is. This concept is basically what Berimbolo is. We're constantly altering the body by going to take the back. They defend by putting their weight on their knees and backing their hips up. When they back their hips up, what are they doing? They're removing my connection of my hips to their hips. If they remove my connection of my hips to their hips, I won't be able to take the back. But what can I do? I could alter their spine to get inside the pass box. So all you're going to see is different hooks, different wedges with my legs. But I'm explaining it to you in these terms as if I'm on top right now. Why? Because I think of berimbolo just as if I was playing top. Because it is the same thing. We're constantly putting their knees to their chest. We're constantly removing their knees from their chest, which you're going to get another level of mastery of removing the person's knees from their chest. Why is that? Because I just explained whenever I do this, they push away, move your hips back. Like, yeah, I can do this, right? But what I didn't explain is the opposite. Now, what is the opposite? The opposite is me not trying to force the back, but me actually forcing a leg drag. And then what are they going to do to defend the leg drag? They don't want their pass box closed. They bring their knees to their chest. So if they bring their knees to their chest, defending the pass box from being open, what does that mean I can do? I can stack them, connecting my hips to their hips, enabling me to bring my head above their head, enabling me to take the back. So the skills of mastery of crab ride and berimbolo are going to be as follows. They're going to be us mastering bringing the knees to their chest, the person defending, us mastering opening the pass box. Then the next step of mastery, us trying to go open the pass box, they defend, us being able to take the back. Every position you learn today, or all the days you watch this, you're going to see me doing this over and over. The grips will change. The hooks will change. There's so many different hooks. There's so many different grips. But this is the simple goal that you will see everywhere. Okay? And I promise you that you will have a deep understanding of how to achieve bringing the knees away from the chest. You will have a deep understanding of how to bring the knees to their chest. You will have a deep understanding of making the person's arms access so I could climb. And all these things together will enable us to take the back or pass the guard, opening the pass box. So the first thing I wanted to discuss with you guys before we begin this series, this is why this is in the introduction. I'm going to constantly be explaining this, and I'm going to be constantly saying this in the DVD, and I want you guys to understand what I'm saying. Okay? So again, the pass box is when I remove her knees from her chest. Now we have a space here, and that is the pass box, or the strike zone in baseball, you know? So that is the reference that I'm going to be saying in this series, so it's a key concept for you to understand now. This is the pass box. Okay guys, so now what we're going to get into is just like in the other series, we began with double pull. Again, I'm going to explain why we're starting double pull, but basically double pull is where like all the leg drags, berimbolo, crab ride all begin, you know. So for this series, we're just going to start there, and then in other series, I'll explain how to get there and all the setups to getting there. But I just want us to start in the exact spot where we will do our positions. Okay, so when we're here in double pull, remember how I explained in the first series of this system, how all the weight when it's on their legs, I could apply De La Riva, because now I'm able to internally rotate her hip. But the problem is when she takes her weight off her feet and puts it on her butt, now I cannot internally rotate her knee because there's no weight on her feet. So now what I'm able to do is externally rotate her hip because her leg is light. So instead of forcing the weight down on her foot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the weight off of her foot and put it on her butt as much as I can. So basically, this is the second world of double pull, right? Because the first one was the weight on the legs. I could put weight down, all her weight's on her foot and legs. But when she takes her weight off of her feet and goes to her butt, now it's in this world. And I'm going to explain the mechanics of this position, of all the positions we can do here, but I just wanted to first give you guys an understanding of where we're going and why we're doing this, right? So I'm in De La Riva, she opens her knee, and now look, her weight's all on her butt. I can't do De La Riva, so now I'm here. This. Okay, so now what I'm going to explain, just like I explained with De La Riva, the function of our leg positioning in double pull, the grips we're going to use, and how I'm going to use them. Okay, so like I just said, once we know where our goal is when we're doing double pull, it makes it a lot easier, right? So when her weight was on her feet, our goal was to bring her knee to the floor and using my feet in a way that I could accomplish this, right? Even when her foot is flexed, shutting that off, and bringing her leg down in this way, right? So now, because her weight's on her butt, I'm going to explain how I'm going to position my feet, okay? So before, when her weight was on her legs, I was in De La Riva, right? And this gave me control of her body. But now when she puts her weight back on her butt like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my hook like this. Because, like I said, my whole goal here is to keep her weight off of her legs and onto her butt. So when I put my foot like this, it makes it difficult for her to place her leg on the floor. It makes it difficult for her to place her leg on the floor because her leg is sitting on top of my shin and leg here, the lower part of my leg. Okay, so this is the first thing I'm thinking about doing. It's the same as a De La Riva hook, right? But I don't have the lower part of her leg under my leg like this now. I have it above my leg. You see, so it is the same exact thing as a De La Riva, okay? Now, instead of before when I was holding the ankle, you see I can't hold the ankle because her leg is not under me, right? So instead of holding the ankle below my leg, I'm going to hold the ankle above my leg, you see, with the same type of control. Except in this series, what we're doing more is 2-on-1, okay? Because I have control of her leg and I'm holding it up, I have to use my whole body to keep her leg up, okay? So when her foot's on the floor, I use the mat to keep her leg on the floor. When I'm here, I'm using my body to keep her leg off the floor, okay? And when I'm here, what I like to do is I like to make a grip on the leg like this, and I like to place my hand, my forearm under her leg like so. Now, if you notice, it's exactly the same thing as my leg is doing, except now I'm using my arm also. So now I have my leg and my arm both keeping her leg up. Drop your leg to the floor. It makes it really hard because there's two things now keeping her leg up. Okay? This back leg over here, I have two options. It could be placed on top of her leg, or I could be placing it under her leg. Now, there's pros to both of them. But for now, all I'm going to do is while I come into the position, I'm going to keep my foot on top of her leg. And I'll explain why I'm doing this right now. But for now, I just want you guys to see this grip. So I'm here. I'm in De La Riva. Her leg is open. I'm going to play De La Riva now with her leg on top of my leg instead of below. Okay? Now I'm going to make a grip. I'm going to place my forearm under her leg like this. So now this is holding her leg up. And this is holding her leg up. So I have two things helping me hold her leg up. You see? And how I make this grip is I like to use my thumb inside her gi like this, put my hand under, and then I make the grip here. So now I'm in this position here using my foot, my leg, and I'm just stepping on her leg like so. Okay, just one more time. We're here. I'm De La Riva, her weight's on her leg. I go here. I sit up. I put my thumb inside her leg. I make the forearm grip. I keep using my foot as a De La Riva on her leg, and I use my forearm to keep the lower part of her leg on top of my body. Using gravity when she presses down for it to just be sitting on me. Okay? Here. Here. So now that I explained how you control this forward leg, I'm going to explain what our next objective is in this position, okay? So I'm going to be here again. Again, second world of double pull. Weight's not on the floor, weight's not on the feet anymore, weight's on the butt. So her leg is open. Now I take advantage of that and I make her leg more open by lifting up her leg. I hook, so now she can drop her leg to the floor. But it's still heavy, so I make a grip like this. Now she really can't drop her foot to the floor. Okay, once I make this grip, what does this enable me to do? It makes this hand free to step on the floor. Once I place my hand on the floor, what does this enable me to do? It enables me to pull myself in and to pull myself away. Now there's pros to pulling myself away. As you saw when I was doing De La Riva, it gives me more pressure on the knee sometimes when I pull myself back. But when I pull myself in, what does that do? It brings my head closer to her hips. It brings my head closer to her body. Brings my hips closer to her hips. And like we learned in the first DVD, what is our goal when we're doing any type of berimbolo position? it's to connect our hips to our opponent's hips, right? So now when I'm here, I have this leg drag grip, thumb here, my leg is up. I'm going to place my foot higher on her body to her hip like this. And notice, again, where is my foot? It's exactly like De La Riva. My foot is framing her hip. This is my distance in frame. I'm going to keep comparing this to De La Riva because I want you to see the two identically. You know, there's some differences, but they're both so similar with the distance management and how we take the back, okay?
Do you have your foot there to control my hip?
When it's
That's
here,
interesting.
I'm framing you. So if
Oh.
I'm here, and let's say that you came toward my head, like De La Riva before, and you club my head, grabbing the collar and the leg, got the collar and the leg, like the leg here.
Oh.
And now back step. You see? You
Oh,
can get
so this
near
one
me.
keeps me from doing
So
it.
when I'm like this, back step and club me,
I can't
because I have this frame on your body. You
Okay,
see?
Okay.
So that's why I'm putting my foot here, just like in De La Riva, the same frame, right? So now I place my foot exactly where it was in De La Riva. And this part of my leg is keeping it up. I have this grip. Now what I'm going to do is I put my hand on the floor. And when I put my hand on the floor, my back leg has two options. It could hook like this, or it could step on the floor, or it could go here. Both stepping things I consider the same because I'm just pulling myself in. This one, I'm pulling myself in also. But notice, if I put my foot on the floor like so, she could De La Riva me, right? So I have to be very careful that if she De La Rivas me, that her knee isn't on this side of my body. If it is, she could Barambola me or attack De La Riva on me as well, right? So whenever I hook like this, I have to make sure I have enough pressure on her chest that her leg cannot come over here. Now put the De La Riva hook in. So now I'm safe from De La Riva once I keep her knee on this side of my body, right? So take your leg out now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for now, let's step on the floor. I think it's safer, just like in De La Riva here. Whenever my foot's here, you could De La Riva me. But when my foot's here, De La Riva me, she can't, right? So for now, it's just stay here. I step on the floor. I can use my heel on the floor the same way. I come in. Now, when I get here, I'm going to drag her leg like this. When I drag her leg like this, what am I doing? I bring my chest forward, knee to her chest, and then I put her leg on this side of my body. Now, just like in Barambola before, when I explained what I do with my hand here, we're for now using this hand, the opposite hand. And there's two types of grips I can make. There's many types of grips. But for this leg drag, initially, there's the first grip is the near hip, and the second grip is the far hip. I'm going to explain how to feed the far hip after. But right now, the next series, the next position we're going to be work is all in the near grip world. And the pros of this world, and then the cons of it, and then when we're going to go to the far hip, okay? So all we're going to do here is once I get my hand here, I pulled myself in. I'm going to be here. I push the leg to this side. I'm going to put 4 fingers in on her hip like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my palm up again. Remember how I said thumb up from De La Riva? It's exactly the same concept. Because we want to activate these muscles in my arm. Because they give me a post on my body here. Look at this. I don't need any grips here. Look. You see? Because of the activated muscles on my arm. So now look at this. You see how I can balance like this? This is so important. So when I turn my hand like this, it activates all these muscles in my arm that I'm able to post on. And again, not using any flexibility because it's all on my arm. I'm not on my neck. I'm not on anything. I'm just on my side on my arm. Okay? So we're here. I'm hooking. I go here. I make a grip. Once I have this grip, what does that enable me to do? I post my hand on the floor. I pull myself in. I drag her leg. For now, I'm not hooking. I'm just keeping my foot on her leg. My heel could touch the floor here, no problem, but my toes are on her knee. I grab a hip grip here. I go on my side. I go palm up on my side, and I end up here. So again, so weight on her butt. I'm here. Both grips on the ankle. And thumb in, grip. Step on the floor, pull myself in, bending her knee to her chest. I pull her leg to the side. Again, it's still sitting on my forearm the whole time. It's never like this because if it falls, I lose control. So I just let it sit on top of me, her leg. Now I can get a hip grip. I can go on my side. And I end up here. Turning, my palm from here to palm up. This is so important. Thumb up, palm up. If you think about thumb, it could be confusing, so I think it's better when you got this grip to just place your palm up. Then it activates these muscles and we can go on our shoulder once we need to. Here. See, and I don't even have anything with my legs, but I end up like this. And again, foot in the center of her body keeps her from coming into me. It's my frame on her body. And it's so important we have so many frames, as many frames as we can on her body. Every time we lose our frames, that's a potential chance for her to pass our guard, especially with bigger people. So we're here, De La Riva. Weight on her butt, we make a grip. I put my foot here, I have my frames. I step my hand on the floor. I'm here, I pull myself in, I drag the leg, I get a hip grip, I go on my side, palm up, I'm here. Perfect. So now what we're going to get into is how to sweep our opponent once we establish our near side grip and our control of her leg. Okay? Now I'm going to give you guys two options how to sweep the opponent, and I'm going to now show you why we're going to switch our back leg positioning, like I said before. So I'm going to be here, going to be going for De La Riva. Her weight goes to her butt. So now I lift up the leg. We're in world number 2. World number 1, weight on her foot. World number 2, weight on her butt. Right? So I hook her leg. I get the grip. I have both grips on her ankle. I lift my foot up, making a De La Riva on the inside of her leg, controlling her leg from going to the floor, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm controlling her ankle. I put my thumb inside her leg. I make my forearm with my back arm here below her leg. Now when you guys are drilling this, I really want you to practice this motion. Thumb in, here. It's really easy. You just have to understand how to use your hands, okay? So once I get here, this enables me to have this arm free, right? So now I put my chest on her toes to bring her knees to her chest, because my goal is to bring her knees to her chest when I sweep her. I'm going to put my hand on the floor. I'm going to bring her knee to her chest. Again, my foot's on the floor now. Now I'm going to drag her leg, keeping my elbow under her leg. I'm going to make a hip grip, palm up on her leg. And I'm going to go on my side like so. Okay, but you see her leg is still up, right? I mean, she's still on her arms, right? So all I need to do now is I need to push her knee to her chest, and I need to hook her back leg like this. Now there's no De La Riva because her leg is already dragged, right? So all I need to do now is hook her knee, and I'm going to bring both her knees to her chest. And that's going to put all the weight on her arms, sweeping her to the floor. Okay, so she's here. I use my foot on the chest like a tripod. So when you do a tripod sweep, stand up. When you do a basic tripod sweep, right? We're here, we use our foot on her knee like this, and we push the chest, right? And that would make her fall this way. It's the same mechanics once I hook her back leg. But you see, initially when I'm here, it's safer my foot's on the leg than going here because you get attacked De La Riva. Remember, the mat's fire. I can do this, but I need to make sure my leg is dragging her, my body is dragging her leg to the other side. So I'm here. I make the grip. Now I have this side covered. I post my hand on the floor. I bring her knee to her chest. Now I go on my side and I grab her hip like so. Once I'm on my side, I hook her knee. Now I'm going to pull. I want you guys to see how I pull this hip grip to me. When I pull this hip grip to me, what is that doing? That's bringing her hip closer to mine. Every time I bring her hip closer to mine, isn't that our goal with Berimbolo? Connect our hips to our opponent's hips, right? So when I bring her hip close to mine, it's going to make more weight on her arms. It's going to make more weight on her arms the more I pull her in. Now, when I hook this back leg and I push her knees to her chest, it makes her fall really easy. Okay, so again. Using my chest, I step on the floor, I drag the leg, keeping her leg up, under my arm, under my elbow. I'm using my elbow here to support her leg from falling. I make this grip. I go on my side, I pull the hip grip, I pull the hip grip. I hook her knees, I bring her knees to her chest, and she falls. Okay, again. Side. just so they can see this leg better. See, once I drag this leg, I keep it in this angle. You see, now it's hard for you to drop your foot. Now I go on my side. I hook the leg. I keep my foot on her stomach. I push the foot on the stomach. I push the leg like a tripod. I pull her hip in, and then I push her knees to her chest. And she falls. Again. So now what I'm going to show you is the concept of bringing her knees to her chest. The next chapter of this series, you're going to learn all about the hips and how they work and the rearrangement of the spine. But again, I'm going to show you a second variation to sweeping my opponent back. And I'm going to explain why we're doing this, okay? So I'm going to be here, the same exact thing is going to happen. I'm going to be in De La Riva, her weight's on her butt. I lift the leg up, I put my foot under, now her leg's on top of me. I replace it with my thumb. Now my forearm and my leg are both keeping her leg up. I post my hand on the floor. I bring my chest on top to her feet. I pull myself in. Now what I do is I bring the leg up to my elbow like so. I grab her hip, near side, right? I go on my side. Now I want to sweep her the same way, bringing the knees to her chest, but she brings her body away. So I'm trying to pull her in, but I couldn't this time. You see? So before, when I was able to do was I was able to just bring her knees to her chest, pull, and tripod. She backs away her hips now. So what I have to do is I have to use my feet on her body to pull my hips in. You see? So before, I pulled her hip to me. Now back away. Now this time, I can't pull her hips to me. So just like in the Berimbolo rules before, every time we try to pull ourselves to the person, and every time we try to pull the person to us, and we can't pull the person to us, we go to them. Right? Same exact thing as the rules before. That's why it's so important. Those rules that I showed you guys before, they apply everywhere, especially in these situations. I try pulling her to me, I can't. So now I go to her. I bring my hip in. Now once I bring my hip into her, I lift the legs up and I pull her to me more. Now I bring her knees to her chest. So go back. So the first one, I bring the knees to the chest, I sweep. Second one, she backs away. So I bring myself in a little bit, just to angle my hip differently. I pull her body to me now, connecting my hip to her hip. Now I sweep her, knees to chest. Again, she's here, back away. So I can't pull her to me, I pull myself in. Once I pull myself in, I'm close to her hips again. Every time she backs her hip away from me, I pull myself to her hips. Now, because I'm close to her hips, I bring her leg up, I bring her knees to me, connecting my hip to her hip. Now I bring her knees to her chest, and I sweep her. Again. Here. Leg drag, chest. Good. Lifting up the leg. Here. I go on my side. If I want to sweep her basic, I can't. You see, she's backing away. And again, when she backs away, what's happening? Her weight's going to her legs, to her feet. Her legs, her feet. So how we counter this is we bring ourselves in. So now the weight is back on her butt and her arms. Now I pull her leg up after pulling myself in. You see, I can't pull my hips in. I can't pull her to me until I bring my hip this way. Now once I'm on my side like this, I'm able to pull her hip up to me. Now I can bring the knees to the chest and sweep her down. Okay. So I want you guys to draw it like this. You're here, you want to go De La Riva, she goes here. Both grips on the ankle, use your thumb inside the leg. My arm close to the outside. Now I make the grip, I lift up, I put pressure with my chest on her toes, I lift up using my elbow, keeping her heel on top of my elbow, yes. So now I make a grip, I go on my side, I try to bring her knees to her chest, she's too far away, I pull myself in. Now my hip is under her. So now what I can do is, once I pull myself in, I can pull myself in more, and I can pull her to me, connecting my hip to her hip. Now I go double knees to her chest, and I push this knee to her shoulder. And she falls. The same exact thing as before. Here. here. Now already I can hook. There's no problem. Once I have this connection, I'm not in danger of her going De La Riva here. You see, because her leg is already jagged. So but we can stay here for now. I get this grip. Now I hook to sweep her, to go for the first sweep. She backs away. So once she backs away, her legs are getting heavier. Her legs are getting heavier. So now once I pull myself in, her legs are lighter again. Now I bring her body to me like this. Now once I bring her body to me, I bring her knees to her chest and she falls. Okay, again, lifting sides. Here. Here, I try to sweep her. I can't. So now I pull myself in. And when I pull myself in, notice how my knee goes on top of her leg like this. It's hard because there's no space for her to drop her leg. You see, so I'm using my hook, but then my knee is like this also. Like it was like this, but now my knee is doing the same motion. So I'm here. Now I can bring her knees to her chest. I can pull her hip to me. Once I pull her hip to me, all her weight's on her butt and arms. Now try to back away.
Thank you.
Now I sweep her. Knees to chest, sweeps her to the floor. All her weight now goes from her hips to her shoulders in this range. Again. Try to sweep her, I can't. I pull my body in. Once I pull my body in, my knee goes under her knee like this. I pull her to me
Wait,
now.
one sec. It's very interesting. I can't push down my leg anymore.
Because this knee is acting the same way as my hook was before, remember? So now my knee is doing the same thing as a table on top of your leg, right?
Yeah, it's interesting.
And now I could lift up your knees and push you down. And every time you back away, I follow. Back away, I follow. Now I can use my hip, sweep you to the floor. Okay guys, so now what I'm going to show you is a good drill to practice the motion I just explained before. Because like we know, Jiu-Jitsu is all body movement. And it doesn't come natural, this body movement. So what you have to do is to learn the body movement, you have to repeatedly position yourself and train your body to position yourself in this way. That's how I learned like all these body movements, is just repeatedly repeating these drills. It teaches your body how to place yourself. Okay, so we're here. I'm going to be in De La Riva. She puts her weight on her butt. I go both grips on the leg, I hook. Right? First hook. I make the grip here. I step on the floor, then I place my foot in front of her stomach again, creating my frame on her body, protecting me from her getting to my head. Okay? I put weight on her chest, I hook. I get hooked. Now, once I go on my side, I get here. So the drill is going to be like this. The drill is going to be, I'm going to try to sweep her. And I feel like I can't because she's backing away. So what I'm going to do is every time she backs away, I'm going to use my feet and my arms to pull my body in, to connect my knee to her leg. Okay, now I can connect my hip to her hip, and I can sweep like before, right? So go back. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let my partner, I'm going to take away the slack in my elbow that's pulling. I'm going to let her back away again. Yes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this grip. I'm going to lift up, use my knees. First, pull myself in, scoop her in. Here. Now back away. Here. Now back away. Here. Now back away. Here. Just change sides. You see, I want you guys to learn this motion of pulling yourself in while she backs away. Okay? And the partner that's drilling, their reaction is going to be just posting their arms and moving their hips away from your hips. Like we said, this whole fight always is me connecting my hips to her hips. And her defense is her removing her hips from my hips, right? So we're here, grips here. Chest, here, drag, side, here. She backs away. So I use my feet as hands. I use my feet connected, I push, and then I pull my hips in. Here. Using my knee under her leg. Now back away. I let my arms straighten again. I go again. Now go again.
Can I ask you a question
Yes.
with this elbow? Are you lifting the elbow up or are you leaving it?
I lift the elbow up whenever I'm on this hip. Here. But the second I go square, look how I don't have to lift it up anymore, right?
Okay.
Because my knee is lifting it up. But once I'm on my side like this, I have to use it to keep your leg up.
Okay.
Then the second I move my hips square, my knee does that instead of the arm.
Oh.
Now I'm just pushing her leg, but I'm not lifting it necessarily.
Okay.
You see, so go back. So back away. Here. And I want you guys to see, so what I'm doing is my arm is bent, I let it straighten, and then I go again. So we're here, the jaw is here. You back away, my arm straightens. This arm is straightens, right? So once I pull myself in, it bent again. Now my knee is here, you see? Now I'm in the spot where I can pull her in once my knee gets here. And I can pull her in using this grip, and then I can sweep you again. Because once I'm on my side, look how my forearm is. Every time I'm like this, look how my knee is. My knee takes the place of my forearm. So she backs away, my arm straightens. I pull in, I bend. Now I'm on my side of my hip like this. I connect her hips. I sweep. She backs away, I connect. She backs away, I connect. Straight arm, bent. Straight arm, bent. And I use my feet to walk. I'm using my X on her body to walk my body. To walk my body. Arm straight, bent. Okay?